Okay, everybody. Well, thank you for getting on. I'm happy to have you. We have Nick Pags here with us. We're going to be discussing your why and then what do you do when you find it. Thank you, coaches. Thank you, players, for being on. We are recording this, and the recorded gets uploaded to our website very soon, also via YouTube. And if you have any questions, feel free to type them into the little chat box, and we'll have them answered at the end, okay? I'm going to turn it over to Nick, who can start his presentation.
All right, thanks, Bo. I appreciate it, and thank you, everybody, for being on today. My name is Nick Pags. I just want to say a big thank you for letting me jump in here today. It's an honor to be able to speak to young players and coaches because that's my background. And now I'm not in soccer as a coach. I'm not in soccer as a player, but everything I am is my upbringing as a soccer player. So I'm excited to be able to speak to you guys. I feel like I'm back at home, like where I got my start from. So what I'm going to do is just bring up the slide. I'm so not a slide guy. So this will be interesting for me to try and make this work. But we're going to see. Presenting now. Let's see if this works for you guys. And I'm keeping it very basic just so you have an idea of who I am. All right, y'all. So my name is Nick Pags. Right now, I am in the fitness industry and the speaking industry are my two hot spots. That's where I spend most of my time in my life. And in my career for soccer, I grew up playing since I could walk. I had a ball at my foot. My dad was a big soccer player, and I kind of went through all different phases with different teams. I played on a couple different teams, played at every camp and league you ever seen. I was one of those kids who was just at every single tournament. I was all over the place. Grew up in Westchester, New York. I went to high school at Fordham Prep. That's where I played my high school ball. And during that time, I played for a team called JBSFC. I guarantee you never heard of it because we were the only age group to ever go through JBSFC. So there was I think he created one other group at some point. But the coach was an absolute psycho, and I don't say that lightly. My man was a psycho. And it's part of why I grew to be the person I am was dealing with him as a coach. And then I went on to play at the University of Scranton in Pennsylvania, and we're going to talk more about that as we go forward. Currently, I'm in the fitness space. I work as a physical personal trainer. For the past 11 years, I've been a personal trainer. I've been doing group fitness for most of those 11 years, I think 9 years of that time. I was a co-owner of a group fitness studio that has one in Westchester, New York, in Rye Brook was our first location, and then we opened up on the Upper East Side. I stepped away from that a little over a year ago. I'm a personal trainer at Performance House in New York City. It's a super exclusive training space, a very high-end gym. And then I've also become a Lululemon ambassador, which is, if you know the clothing Lululemon, it's an honor to be an ambassador for them. And then also Theragun. Most of you maybe have seen it on sidelines of professional sports events in some way. Cristiano Ronaldo is a big fan of using that thing on his feet. So I'm one of the 7 Theragun master trainers in the world, which is a beautiful honor. So that's what I'm doing in the fitness space. And then as a coach, I'm in the mindset space heavily. So I partner with a company called Talent Hack. Talent Hack is basically the LinkedIn of fitness professionals. It's a space where fit pros go to do whatever they got to do, get education, create community space, ton of different learning. So I'm the mindset coach and head of partnerships for them. I'm a mindset coach at a company called Empower University where I work with entrepreneurs to build their businesses online. I'm a speaker and I have my own mindset coaching business. So I am absolutely kind of all over the place when it comes to what I do and the hats I wear. And that's really all we're going to talk about that. I want to get you today. My mission today is to offer you an opportunity to think about this word that we always use, right, as something that inspires, as something that motivates. So I'm going to start with a little bit of my background in soccer so that we can get on the same playing field, because I'm talking to a community of soccer players or parents of soccer players. So I want to get us in the same space. So I played every day of my life. I'm not kidding. I mean, every day of my life, from the time I could stand up and kick a ball up until post-college, and when I went to Uruguay to play for some time and everything in between. And I wasn't always the best on my team. I was always up there. I was one of the better ones, if not one of the best on my teams. But what I did have most of the time was the best work ethic of anybody on my team. So that's something when I think about soccer, my days in soccer and how I played, my work ethic was my key. It was all about just like, if I can work harder than anybody, then I'll get better results than most people. And as I went through the ringer of everything that maybe a lot of you are going through now or about to go through, the process of becoming a college athlete, what that takes, parents, all the money, time, effort, and energy you have to put in to make sure that your kid is set up for the best opportunity they can. I went through all of that, and it was a crazy process. I was being scouted by Division I schools mostly. I had 2 division schools that were on me, and then I had 1 Division III that I paid attention to because of their physical therapy program, which is what I initially wanted to do in school. So lo and behold, after going to all these different camps and traveling everywhere, I ended up at the University of Scranton, the only Division III school I really paid attention to in that time. And I mention that because I saw myself as not a D3 player. I saw myself as a Division I top athlete, getting ready. I've worked my whole life for this moment to go play D1, to kill it, and make my way to the pros. That was the process. And then at some point, I had a discussion with my parents. We sat down and we really said, do you want to focus on just athletics, or are you going to put your attention on school? It is important because if you break your leg one day, you got to go into the rest of your life and still be a human being that functions in society. A question that all of us deal with. We want to put our mind on the game, but life is a part of our game. We are playing the game of life, right? So we had to have that conversation. Me and my dad sat down, and we ended up finally having a discussion with the coach at the University of Scranton. Kind of caught him off guard. He couldn't believe that I was going to show up there. I did. And the way Division III works, or it did at that time, I don't know how it is right now, there's no written contract. It's a verbal agreement, right? And we don't have a lot of those nowadays. There aren't a ton of verbal agreements really on anything. Everything's written down all the time, right? It's got to be on paper or it's not real. So in my head, as the first kid to go up and do the college work thing, like the college athlete, figure out how to get into that. My parents had not had this experience before. So we said, oh, great, we just get a call. So the University of Scranton, we in. It's good. We shook hands, went and saw the school, whole 9 yards. Coach was telling me how excited I am to have you and start for us next year and blah, blah, blah. So I'm thinking I'm just going to tear up D3 as a freshman. And I show up, and I go through everything I had to do. There were 50 kids at tryouts. I didn't understand the idea of tryouts. I thought college soccer meant you went and played college soccer, you signed your little thing, you like celebrated, your school wrote a little like news clip about you because you're so awesome, and then you went, right? And I showed up and I was on the team. And after a week of just killing it, I mean, there was one kid that was faster than me in anything, and he was another freshman who's now a Navy SEAL. Just to give you an idea of the sick mofo that kid is. But I would train like an animal, and me and him would always be head and head. And I did everything right. Everything right. I was working hard. I was showing up to all the things early. I was killing it in the fitness end. I was playing pretty well, but I noticed I was always on one side of the field, and last year's team with a couple other kids was on the other side of the field. So the end of the week comes, and he said, all right, today's going to be posted, so you know what time practice is. This is after a week of tryouts, and I show up to the office, and I see the post on there, and I'm looking down, and I don't see Nick Pags anywhere. And I was like, wait a minute. The coach forgot to put my name on this thing. What is going on? So I go and I bang on his door. And I said, Coach, I'm confused. I don't see my name on the list. He goes, son, you didn't make the team. And just to give you an idea of what that felt like, every single day of my life, Bo coached me at times in my life. It was the most important thing to me all the time was playing soccer, playing this game. And even deeper, was showing my family and the people who sacrificed so much that what their sacrifice was worth it, right? That I was willing to do whatever it takes to go do what I had to do to be that pro, to be successful in this game. You're not gonna. And that was the first big hit, serious hit I took in my life because it was everything I trained for. So after trying to convince this guy that I was worthy of being on that team, my head then went to, where can I transfer to? How can I get out of here? This is miserable. And at one point, my mother asked me, and this is coming back to you guys, so stay with me on this because I know it's my story, but it relates to you. It's really important that you hear this. I said to my mom, or she said to me, well, you have a choice. You can go transfer, and we'll be behind you on that. And if you're choosing to transfer because you want to be in a different place, we're good. We'll help you transfer. But if you're choosing to transfer because somebody told you no, then we are not behind you on that. And that conversation very much shifted my perception of how I was going to show up as an athlete, as a human, long-term as a professional. Because what I realized in that moment was that it was on me. It was on nobody else's decision to control my outcomes. It was on me. So I said I was going to stay, and I was going to do everything it took to get on that team. And at that point, in my naive mind, it was literally just to prove this guy wrong. Because like my mom said, are you leaving because you want to leave, or are you leaving because somebody told you no? So I worked my tail off for a year, kicking a ball off a wall nonstop. I would go and practice at the field intentionally right before their practices just to be the guy who's standing on the field as the coach awkwardly had to walk down because he couldn't look me in the eye, right? So I would have to go stand down there just to make a scene. I wanted everyone to know that I would be there next year. I wasn't the kid who was hiding and sad that I got cut. I was working 10 times harder. So I worked all year, and I show up for next season. And I say, Coach, I call him right before. I said, just want to know the dates of tryouts, excited to show up. And he said, son, you're not invited to tryouts. I said, what do you mean? He said, son, I didn't hear from you all year. You're not invited to tryouts sophomore year. So another year, told no. I didn't even get a chance to show up. Another year, told no. So I said, okay. And I remember what my mom said. Are you trying to leave because you want to leave or because somebody told you no? So another year, I put my head down and I went to work. I was the strongest I had ever been in my life. I could run they called it the YBMI. It was an absolute death trap of a fitness test. It was horrible. I could do 2 miles in a ridiculous time. I was training nonstop. I would do kicks after kicks after kicks after kicks and post it and hashtag Scranton Soccer and just keep making sure I was all over the coach. I was mean about it. I wanted him to be able to smell me. That's how close I was to him because I wasn't going to take no for an answer. So then spring semester, I called my man back and I said, it's spring. I'm ready to play for the team. When can I show up? He says, we got to see. And he was avoiding the question. My man, I don't know what this guy's vendetta was against me. He begged me to come to this school. And I wasn't going to let him get away with it. So I showed up. Spring season. I was the leading goal scorer in our spring season. Junior year. Our school hasn't done crap in soccer in years. Junior year. I come on. I play for the team. We are Elite 8. We made it to the Elite 8 in the country. The farthest our school, I think one time they made it farther than that in school history. We made it to the Elite 8, and I had a game-winning double overtime goal the game before that to take us to that. I will promise you this. It was not me that took that team that far. But the energy I brought to that space completely shifted how that team showed up in practice, how that team showed up for games, how that team showed up off the field. I guarantee you nobody had a bigger impact in the locker room than I did. Nobody. So when I think about that story, I don't see a lot of soccer anymore, right? I think about the fact that it was a soccer team, but what I see now is who I am today, how I show up as a person, how I show up as a coach, how I show up as a professional in my space is all driven by what I learned in that time. So what I want you to understand is that our why is not just about the game, right? For you, your commitment, your life may be, I want to be a professional soccer player. I want to be the best coach I can be. I want to be a college athlete. You may have that in mind, and you can make that happen. I don't doubt it by any means. But if you start to succumb to pressures of the friends telling you should go do this, or coaches saying you're not capable, you're not strong enough, you're not good enough, if you start to succumb to other people's things that put on you, you'll not find yourself a place. You will not create your own results. Okay? So what I really want to tap into today is what does that why actually mean? Right? Because we only do things that benefit us. This is written in our DNA. This isn't like a Nick Pags thing. This is just science. This is what we do. As human beings, we do things only that benefit us. And you're saying to yourself, no, I don't like homework. Homework doesn't benefit me. I know you don't like homework, but if you don't do your homework, mom gets mad, dad gets mad, teacher gets mad, all the things that go wrong when you don't get your homework. So you do your homework because you know you got to learn. You know you got to do well on that test. You know you got to make your parents proud and happy. You know you got to be proud of yourself, right? I don't take out the garbage because I like it. It doesn't benefit me. Of course it benefits you. If you don't take out the garbage, your parents are going to give you some spanking or something. You're going to get in trouble. You got to do the chores. You know what I'm saying? So understand that everything you do, and I'm not just talking to the kids, I'm talking to coaches, I'm talking to parents here. Everything we do is very much, it must serve us in some way. So ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? Start to just raise your awareness. Open your awareness to why you do what you do. When you go to sit down and play video games, ask yourself, why am I doing this? I'm doing it because it's fun. Okay. Is that serving you in your purpose, in what you want to do? Is it working for you in what you want to create in your life? You got to start to ask these questions, because these questions, understanding your why, it's all surrounded around these questions, right? So I want to get super clear on this. I want you to get to a really clear space in understanding what your why is. Whether you're 12 years old, whether you're 18 years old, whether you're 50 years old, anything, it doesn't matter. Understanding your why is what drives you and creates purpose for you, right? So the first thing, you have to have a vision of what your why is. And if you're writing down, you might want to write this stuff down, because this is the take-home stuff. This is the stuff that's important to you guys, okay? So be with me on this, because this is the stuff that can actually, as a player, shift your entire life. As a professional, as a person, the same thing I'm talking to you guys about is what I talk to high-level professionals, CEOs. The same idea happens on a soccer field as it does. It's where I learned it. It's where I learned it, on a soccer field. Same thing happens in a business place. Same thing happens when you're working and running your own business, when you're an employee at a 9-to-5 job, whatever it is, the same principles apply. So the first one, you must have vision. And this vision, it's got to be exciting. It's got to be compelling. Think about your vision with your team, right? One of your core values as Eastern FC is teamwork. As a team, you guys talk about, what's your vision for the end of the year? What do we see ourselves doing? Are we winning this league? Is somebody on our team getting the MVP? Are we going all the way to the finals of this tournament? Have we committed to winning a certain amount of games? Have we committed to showing up at practice every day? What are your goals? What's your vision? Have a clear vision that excites you. And then personally, not just on your team, you as an individual. What do you want? Right? It's a question we always have to answer. Do I want to be a college soccer player? Do I want to play professionally? Do I want to get to a Division II school, a Division III school? Do I want to be an all-academy whatever? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You gotta set your goals and get clear on them, and they gotta be exciting, because that's what wakes you up. That's what wakes you up. There needs to be a reason behind it, and this is number 2, right? You have a vision, and then you gotta have a reason, and the reason needs to be strong. And here's why: because your reasoning for playing video games is also strong. I love to play video games with my friends. It's awesome. I love shooting people and riding cars or whatever the heck happens in the video game. Right? That for you is a strong reason, right? Or the reason why you don't go to the gym, because I can put my feet up and lay down and eat candy, and that's way more fun. Think about it. The reason must be incredibly, incredibly important to you. It must be strong enough to become priority. Understand that. If your reason is not strong enough to become priority, you will not do it. So if you wake up every day and you have a vision of being the top guy on your team, right? And then your reason is because I want to play these around, we can do anything and win this championship, and that we could lift that cup at the end of the season, right? Compelling reason. That will take you out of laziness. That will keep you from going and just playing video games or just hanging out with your friends. Those things are important, but when it comes down to it, you must understand what is priority to you. Yeah, so we have our vision, we have our reason why we do what we do, and then we must review it. You got to be with it every day. You got to check in on it every day. You got to say to yourself, okay, this morning, I know I said this the past 400 mornings, but I just need to check in with myself. What is my vision? What is my purpose? What is my why today? And what's the reason why it's my why? Ask myself, what is the reason why I'm doing this today? A practice that I do every single morning. I'm not playing, and this has been a game changer for me, and I wish I had this as an athlete. I didn't use this enough as an athlete, right? But I do it now. Every single morning I wake up and I ask myself, why? Why is it important to honor my word? Why is it important for me to be doing what I'm doing today? Why is it important? And I have to answer that. And I answer it, and I have a guy that I send this to. He's a buddy of mine that we've done some coaching work together. I send him a video saying, here's my why. And then I say, here's the ways of being that I'm going to own for the day. Here's who I'm going to be. I'm going to be confident. I'm going to be committed. And in order to reach my why, these are the things I'm going to own. And I send him this video every single day. And I'm not playing about that. I'm being straight, because what it does is create accountability. For some of you guys, you're just going through the motions. If you want massive impact, massive change in your life, you have to generate something different. You have to be willing to sit down every morning and say, am I doing exactly what I did yesterday, and is it working? And if the answer is no, shift it up. If the answer is yes, double down. Keep working at it. Keep going. Right? That's what it comes down to. So you have to ask yourself, is the environment set? Parents, are you creating an environment that's positive for your son, daughter to be succeeding at what it is they want to succeed at? What it is they want to succeed at? They want to create for them their lives. Are we setting the environment? Players, are you setting the environment to be successful? Are your boots out, ready to go before the session? Are you there 15 minutes early? Did you get your warm-up in before the team even started? Are you there so the coach isn't yelling at you guys to get ready on the field? Are you the one hollering at your teammates to get them there? And I promise you guys, now it sounds goofy. At 15 years old, at 16 years old, I don't want to be the guy who's calling people over. I was always that guy. Guys, come on, guys. Coach is coming in 5 minutes. Let's get going. I would be that guy, and they would all pick on me. My teammates would be like, come on, man, chill. We got 5 minutes. I'm like, I remember saying to myself, if I can learn this now, I'll be in front later. If I can do this now, I'll be in front later. Guys, I'm 28 years old. I turned 28 last week. That serves me every single day of my life. I'm the first guy to show up, and I'm hollering, come on, guys, come on. You got this. Let's go. Join in. Now it's celebrated. Back then, it was picked on. Start early. Be willing to be seen as goofy, as the guy who goes above and beyond. Now I get paid thousands of dollars, guys, to speak on stages because I'm the guy who went above and beyond. Are you hearing me? If money is your driver, if you're at 16 years old saying, I want to be a millionaire, I want to start my own business, I love soccer, but really my focus is I want to be an entrepreneur. If you're there, you need to start thinking about how are you going to show up every day so that you can create that possibility for yourself in the future. Start right now. Being the first guy with your boots on. Being the guy who already warmed up. Being the guy who stays a little later. Ask your parents, can you come 10 minutes later? Me and whatever are going to go play, we're going to do soccer, tennis for a little bit. And we're going to get our taps on. And we're just going to see if we can get moving. Whatever. Are you doing above and beyond work to get above and beyond results? Start to ask yourself that question. We have to, as teams, as coaches, I'm talking to you. As people running the organization, as parents, the only way we change is when we raise our standards. This is so simple. This idea, totally, you could talk about relationships. You could talk about work. You could talk about teams. I need you to hear this, guys. The only way that things change is when you raise your standards. Because what do you do every day? Every single day, you do your rituals, right? Raise your hand if you brush your teeth in the morning. Raise your hand if you put your pants on before you go out the door. Raise your hand if you eat breakfast, right? Like, understand, these are not just things you do. These are your rituals. You might not be paying attention to them as rituals, but that's what they are. They're your rituals. They're the things you do over and over. So if you want to shift the way your life is going, if you want to shift the type of player you are, if you want to become the captain, you need to create rituals that will take you into that space. What do I mean? What do you mean, Nick? Okay. What rituals do you have that are serving you to become the captain you want to become for your team? What rituals do you have that are allowing you to become a phenomenal coach? Ask yourself what rituals are coming into play, because it's so simple. It's just not easy. So many times we create such insane systems and processes in our head when it's so simple. Do the things that work on repeat. Get rid of the things that don't. And then make rituals out of those that you want to add into your life. Right? So one of my rituals, I told you guys, I wake up in the morning, I make my video, and I send it to my boy Austin. And he sends one back. It's a ritual. It happens all the time. I don't think about it now. It just happens. Imagine if scoring goals was a ritual. I'm serious about that. Imagine if everybody coming up to you and be like, wow, you are the best coach. You are amazing. What if that became ritual? How you showed up to the field. You said to yourself, I will show up as the best possible coach I can, no matter the circumstances. What if you showed up to the field? I will show up as the best possible athlete, the best striker, the best keeper. I'm going to be the best left back in the country every single time I show up. No ifs, ands, or buts. I make a ritual out of it. And what are the rituals I need to make sure that that becomes a ritual? Do I need to train a little extra every single day? Do I need to make sure I get enough food in me every single day? Do I need to make sure I'm not slamming candy all the time? What is your ritual? A lot of you guys can't answer that. And you have to start asking yourself, what are the things I'm doing on repeat? Okay, so you need to pick those rituals, because once your rituals are created, they will create your life. I like to call these non-negotiables. Okay, I make a list in my life of non-negotiables, the things that I refuse to go off from. I will never not do them. Right? My number one, always kindness. No matter who I'm working with, no matter if it's a business relationship, a girl that I'm dating, a family member, or whatever, it is top priority that kindness is always in play. Always. It is a non-negotiable. Let me ask you, what are your non-negotiables? A lot of us don't even think about having any. We've never even put them in our daily routine. We never even thought about them. And why I say non-negotiables, it means you can't say, I don't know, because today I think that No! They happen every single day. And when you're an athlete trying to take it to that next level, it's a non-negotiable that you're training every day. It's a non-negotiable that you're training 5 days a week. It's a non-negotiable that you make sure you touch a ball at least for an hour a day. It's a non-negotiable ... What is it that will not be affected by the circumstances around you? Even if school, you got to go to the after-school program and you got to get homework done, you still got to find a way. So do you need to work harder at school to make sure that you can get to the field on time? Like, what is it that needs to happen so that your non-negotiables are followed through with every single day, all the time? All right, so start to write yourself out some of these non-negotiables. Get clear on what that is. All right, and parents, it is super important, and I'm talking to you too today because I think it would be a shame if I was just talking to the players today, because we're all here to grow. That's the beauty of Eastern. Right, the more that I've spoken with Bo, he's taught me about your community and about the importance of how you show up for each other as a community, not just teams playing soccer. Right, so I'd be remiss if I did not pay attention to everybody on this call. So parents, if you're here, coaches, if you're here, understand that we get to set the space for our players to be successful, for our kids to be successful. So many times we do this in our lives where we point the finger at somebody else so that we don't have to take the blame for what actually happened. But the truth is, maybe I didn't set the space for my student, for my athlete to be the top level they could be. Maybe I'm screaming and cranky and whining and pissed off and I showed up as a coach to a practice with a negative attitude. You are setting the space for your players to have negative attitudes, but you get mad when they're showing up wrong. So how are you, parents, coaches, showing up so these players can be the best that they can be? This is our future. These kids are our future. We are going to be dependent on them one day. It is important for us to show up as powerful individuals for them, to set the space for them. So kids, hold mom and dad accountable, right? I know it sounds crazy because you're 15, you're 13, and they're mom and dad. They know all. And mom and dad are amazing. And mom and dad are the best thing you have in your life. They're incredible. And they're learning from you like you're learning from them every day. They might not tell you that. Coaches are learning from you like you're learning from them every day. It's the biggest gift I have that I learned from everybody in my life, including someone your age at 13, at 15, at 17. I learned from you. I'm a speaker. I get paid thousands of dollars to speak. I learn from you. Think about that. At 14 years old, you have the power to teach. And I'm not saying you keep your head held high like hot stuff. Be humble, but understand that how you show up, it impacts the world. It impacts your coaches. It impacts your parents. And it's the parents' job right back. It's the coach's job right back. How you hold yourself We know this, guys. It impacts the people around us, including the kids who have sponges for brains, who are taking in everything you say, taking in every moment. I just started the whole thing we've been talking about with my story of how I became the man I am through the craziness I went through in soccer. It's because I was just seeping every moment in. I was thinking about it. I was registering it. I didn't even know I was doing it at the time, but now it has run my whole life. Right? So think of the importance of how you show up. It's really, really, really important. So I want to bring this back because I want to be super clear as we get into questions in the next few minutes. When I was struggling post only playing 2 years of soccer, my parents gave lots of money to make sure I was set up to play in college and get the scholarship that I wanted to get, play at the D1 school and have the chance to be the best and go pro and all that. My parents did everything they could for that, right? And then I didn't get there. And I remember the feeling, saying to myself, man, I'm a failure. Like, I remember being like kicking the ball against the wall freshman year of college saying, I'm a failure. Dude, you played top level in high school and you were all American, all league, whatever, all this stuff. And you failed your dad, you failed your mom who put so much time and effort in. And what it took me 10 years, and I'm not kidding, guys, 10 years to register, was that I didn't fail anybody. What I did was I went a different route than what I expected. Because we often don't get what we want. We just get what is. I want you to hear me on this for a second because this is big. Things don't show up as you want them to. They show up as they are. So, if you get benched, sometimes that's how it works. And that's exactly how it was supposed to work. Because you have a lesson to learn, my friend. Sometimes your boy, your best friend on your team, takes your starting spot. Because you have a lesson to learn. Sometimes you don't hit your requirement to get to pass the fitness test. It's not because something's wrong. It's because it's telling you something. You're getting feedback. You're getting feedback from your coaches, from your parents, from the universe. You're getting feedback in every moment. And instead of getting upset about the way things are, understand our little brains and how we think things are supposed to be are not nearly as powerful as the things that are. And this is a really important idea to understand. So when you don't get that starting spot, you don't sit and sulk. You work. Because what I realized, and I didn't know this was happening at the time, guys, but listen to that story in freshman year. What I realized was I could have stopped and quit soccer after training for 15 years, 13 years, whatever it was, every day. I could have said, because one guy said I wasn't good enough, I could have stopped. How many times have you been told no? Parents, kids, coaches, you've been told no, and then you stop there. To tell you no that you're done, tell you no you're not ready, and that you got to keep going, and that you have to find another way to improve, and that you must learn to evolve. For some of us, the no is the best thing that ever happened to us. I knew, I was positive, I'm supposed to be a professional soccer player. I'm going to be a pro soccer player. I'm going to be the best that ever came out of Westchester. I remember saying it, and my silly little human brain thought I had it all figured out. What I'm learning more and more every day, guys, is that my brain that says everything is supposed to be a certain way, it's not nearly as powerful as the things that actually happen. What happened was I didn't make the team. What happened was I didn't get a chance the second year. What happened was I became a beast by junior year. An animal. An absolute animal. And dealing with a lot of really, really tough stuff. I was dealing with I have ADHD. I was learning how to deal with ADHD. I was taking medication for that. The medication was messing with my physical body and my mental energy. I was going through all of that and still showed up as a beast. Still was a leader on my team to take us to the top 8 in the country. We were never even close to that. Guys, what happens is not wrong. How you perceive it is wrong. Okay? So when something goes out of the ordinary, it's different than what you thought it was supposed to be. Take it as a blessing and go with it. How can you work with it? If your team loses that game, what is it doing for your team? What is it doing for you as a player? Is it teaching you to become more powerful, to be stronger in your mind? Is it teaching you to lift your team up when they're down and be a leader? Is it teaching you to keep fighting and keep trying and keep going even when you don't want to? What is each moment teaching you? This happens at work. It happens in school when you fail that test. How do you show up the next time? Failing the test was not the problem. You saying I suck at school is the problem. You saying, I'm never going to get this right, I'm not smart enough, is the problem. The test is not the problem. You won't remember the test in 5 years. You probably won't remember the test in 5 weeks. What you'll remember is losing and then accepting that. That's what you'll remember. So as we go forward, I want you to make sure that you are clear on your why. Start to ask those questions. Go through that process of creating your vision, understanding the powerful reason, and then constantly revisiting it. Every single day, multiple times a day. What are you doing to keep yourself in a good headspace, guys? Because everything around you works when this works. Because life is literally just one big game of how you see it. Life is one big game about how you see it. I can miss a PK in a big game and lose it for my team. You see it as this guy sucks. He lost it for his team. I see it as I get to go to my backyard and hit 100 PKs until I get that top right corner every single time. And now I'm the best who ever has been at PKs. Okay? So understand, you get to create the impact that you want to see. You get to generate the change that you want to see by committing to that why and how you go forward with it. Bo, I think we have some questions jumping in. You want me to just start answering this?
Yeah, you see the ones from James there. James is a coach of ours, and I'm sure he's relating this back to our players. Who do you most look up to in your life and why? And then who's the best example of a leader to you and why?
That's a great question. Thanks, James. So, guys, I think everybody's got a different version of what that looks like. And I have different people in my life that serve different purposes as role models, as teachers, as guides. So, like, for me, no questions asked. We could do the Messi, Ronaldo thing all day. But what I love is Cristiano Ronaldo's work ethic. Right, and I'll just relate it because we're talking soccer players here. That dude worked so hard. Yeah, he's got the sweet cards. Yeah, he's got all the money. Yeah, he's got all the, like, now it's all pretty. But my man is a hard worker. Just do your research. Do your research. My biggest, other than my parents, the person who has had the most impact on me that we would all know, and you might not know him yet, but you should, his name is Eric Thomas. Dr. Eric Thomas.
E.T.
E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher on Instagram. E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. I've been following this guy since high school, and I became friendly with him personally, which has been a blessing. Is a motivational speaker, right? And why he's so impactful for me is his story is he was living in abandoned buildings, eating out of trash can. Mother had him when she was 17. He just had a terrible upbringing. And now he's the #1 motivational speaker in the world. And why he's so impactful for me is because he came from nothing, right? But what he did was he used what he had to create what he wants. He started making YouTube videos before it was cool. Every single Monday. You ever heard of TGIM? Thank God it's Monday. That's his thing. He would do every single Monday, and he would do it at 5 a.m. He would post videos every single Monday during the holidays, during his birthday, during everything, no matter what. It was again, non-negotiable for him. And he did it all the time. And what I love about him is that he committed to it even when no one was watching. We call that integrity. He did it when no one was watching. How many of you are going in the backyard and kicking a ball against the wall, not because dad's watching, not because the coach is there, not because you're going to go tell your coach how many you did, just because you're doing it? And you have to start to ask that question. Am I doing things with integrity, doing them in the dark when nobody's seeing them?
One of our values.
Integrity, one of the values, right? It's what your whole community stands for. So when I think of Eric Thomas, I see integrity. And it has served him so well that the guy who dropped out of high school now took 12 years to get a 4-year degree, then got his PhD. And now he speaks all over the world, getting paid $50,000 an hour. All the coolest athletes you ever could think of, he's worked with them to get their mind right, to do what I'm doing with you. So to me, what it took was waking up at 3 in the morning, doing his video, having him posting at 5 every day. You've heard his story. When you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, that's when you'll be successful. You've probably heard that YouTube video. It's one of the most popular YouTube videos of all time. That's him. And he's to the point, guys, where he's so humble. We talked about this too. He has such humility that I could text him. My man has millions of Instagram followers, crazy views. speaks on the biggest stages, and Nick Pags will shoot him a text and he'll answer. That's the type of guy he is. So, to me, he's such an inspiration because he shows up. He shows up consistently and all in every time. Hope that answers the question. Thanks for that one, James.
That's great there. And Rich, I have two good ones that are coming up. Rich Barrios, another coach, is asking, in your experience, what is the main obstacle for people to find it for themselves?
What is the main obstacle for people to find it for themselves? Listen, I think it's different per person, guys. I think every single time you go into a different scenario, it all is in relation to where you are in that current moment in your life. Let me give you an example here. If I'm feeling great and dandy and having the best day ever, and I just had a hat trick in yesterday's game, and I walk into a tough scenario the next day, I'm probably going to take it on with ease, with possibility, with a good mindset, right? Because I'm feeling good about myself. I'm feeling good about where my life is. If you're coming from a dark place, I haven't scored a goal in games, or I've been playing terrible, or my coach doesn't let me go, I've been benched for weeks, I'm not proud of how I'm playing, or I don't know, I'm not doing well at work, my grades are terrible. If you come from a tough day and then you go into a situation, that tends to be how you show up, which is why your why is so important, because it's something you can always check in with. Who do I have to be to get to this thing that I want to create? Right? So the main obstacle, to answer your question, is you. Every single time. Good news and bad news of that. The good news is you don't got to go looking for the obstacle. You don't have to find it. You don't got to pay for something fancy to go fix it. You don't have to go spend a ton of money to figure out what we have to do to get the best cleats or the best coach or the best whatever. The problem often is you. That's the obstacle. And in order for you to get to the other side, this is the tough news, is that it's not so easy. Is that you got to work on it every day. You must check in with you every day. You must be present to the way you think and how you feel things every day. We call this raising your awareness, heightening your consciousness. That's what you have to do. It's very simple. Checking in with you. Simple, not always easy. So when we think about the main obstacle for you, as a player, right? You see somebody at taking free throws. Half the time, the skill is not the problem. The motion they've done 1 billion times. It's the pressure and what goes on up here. The best athletes in the world are just incredible stress managers. I'm going to say that again. The best athletes in the world are incredible stress managers. They are used to 10,000, 30,000, 50,000, 80,000 people screaming at them. That's why it was crazy to watch Zidane. Most of you guys don't know what I'm talking about, but the coaches do. Watch Zidane in the 2006 World Cup headbutt Materazzi out the game, right? Red card on his final game ever. It is so unlike him. A man who was composed, who always kept his cool. That's the difference between a high-level professional and what he did. He never acted like that. That's why his career was so phenomenal. He had one bad mistake. It happened to be his last mistake and his last play, right? But that man showed up. If you watch Zidane play, guys, if you never watched Zidane play, please get on some YouTube videos. It'll serve you well. That man would show up to every game calm, cool, and collected. He had this face all the time. He never did anything but this. He was the most boring facial expression guy you ever seen. Never did anything. He just chilled all the time. And somebody did something to get in his head. The best athletes in the world, the ones who win regularly, are the ones who are in control of their own mental stability, their own heart, their own emotions. When they can access a depth and understanding of what's going on up there. It's why I fell in love with this work, because I love athletes. And I know that I can take an athlete who's good to being the best or to be phenomenal, simply how they shift their brain, just in the way they think. I don't need to go to a field with you. I just need to talk to you. And I need to talk to you regularly. And we could shift the way you show up in games. We could shift the way you coach. We can shift the way you run your business. We could shift the way you show up in relationships. You could shift the way you show up in school just by talking, because we're raising awareness to how we see things. It's big. Jerry.
This is a great one from Jerry. Jerry is a parent manager in our club. He's been with our club for about 10 years. has now had 3 boys in our club play in our club, and great community member and great boys. This is a good question, and it's a question that us as coaches talk about because we're connected with the parents and we're connected with the players, and he's coming from the area of a parent thinking, and what do we do in that car ride home? And so this is almost like a parent education question. What do you tell a parent to say to their young teenager soccer player when facing disappointment? The missed PK, like you mentioned, the goal allowed that lost a match, the missed opportunities to tie. How do we help them to self-analyze and take the steps you mentioned for self-improvement?
That's a phenomenal question, Jerry. Thank you. And here's the interesting thing about this. I wish there was a cookie cutter answer, a clear cut, like here it is. Every single parent is going to have a different answer to this because you all have different kids. And all your kids like to drive you crazy in different ways and show up in different ways. And all you kids know you like to drive mom and dad crazy different than your buddy drives mom and dad crazy. So here's the beauty of this, right? Is that you get to, and this is going to be tiring, so pay attention to this. You get to show up every single day to that situation as a new situation. Okay? Parents, kids, listen to me for a second. Parenting is the hardest job in the entire world times a million. There is no harder job in the entire world. You could run the biggest company. You could be the owner. You could be Jeff Bezos. Run Amazon by yourself, and it won't be harder than being a parent, because what you're doing is creating a human, and you have to find the balance between lifting them, supporting them, and giving them what they need to hear. Right. So this is where this question comes into play. I think the important thing is to, which is a really, really challenging conversation to have, ask your kid, right? As we get older, we start to learn more about how our brains work and how we respond to different things. There's something called love languages, right? I'm not asking you to ask your kid what your love language is. But ask your kid, how do they receive affirmation? Ask your kid, does it get you angry when we talk about the missed PK? Because I want to know how to show up for you. As mom, as dad, like Jerry, I want to how to when it's down, right? Like, do you want a hug, right? And maybe they won't say it, so you got to start testing the waters. But like, dude, nothing felt better as much as it hurt, and I wanted to be alone. I wanted my mom, Janny, greatest human in the world. I just wanted a hug from her, and then I didn't want to talk to anybody, and I wanted to sit in my crap for a couple days. It was freshman year. We went to the city finals, Bo. We were on the big field at the Fordham University field. I had the PK. I had to hit the PK for the win. I wasn't kidding about the score I told. I hit the top right. This keeper was about 5'2" and about this wide. And all I needed to do was roll it to the corner. But I always hit my top right corner. That was my shot every time. Hit the top right corner. I never missed the PK. It got the top post and bounced out. I lost it. Right? And what I needed to do was sit with it, and I went home, and this is answering your question, Jerry, because this is how I showed up as a kid. I went home, and I had a goal in my backyard, and it was pouring rain, I can remember it like it was yesterday. I went home, I locked myself in my room, I cried a good amount at the age of 15, 16, whatever it was, 15, and then I went into the backyard, and I turned the big light on. We had these 2 lights, and I shot in the pouring rain, and I did not leave. It took me about 3.5 hours. I did not leave till I hit 100. I'm not kidding the number. This sounds crazy. Saying it sounds crazy. 100 PKs to the same spot in a row. I hit 100 in a row. One time I got to 86, and I missed, and I started again. So that's what I needed to do as a kid at 15. Some kids just need to get their ass kicked and say, dude, you got to work harder. Some kids just need to be like, yo, I love you no matter what. Great job today. I know this stinks, but we just work harder on the next one. Some kids need to sit and analyze on their own. I think it's really asking the question. We as parents think we're supposed to know the answer, right? Like we're supposed to know how to parent. Sometimes the kid gets to give us the answer. Do you want to talk about this right now? No. Okay, great. Well, know that your mom, your dad, I am here to talk about it, to work on it. We could go talk to coach after if you want to, so we can make you better. so we can improve. Ask questions. Your kid may be 15, but your kid is damn smart. Your kid may be 17, but your kid knows what feels good for him or her. Ask them. Just ask them. And they'll learn. If I ask Dad for this help and he gives it to me, I'll just keep asking for help. You create trust. You create a relationship. I hope that's helpful, Jerry. Thanks for the question.
That was a great one. It made me think of that one that was flying around where Jordan gets cut team, and somebody made a joke about the fact that his mom didn't call the AD, didn't call the coach, and didn't call the superintendent, and she told Jordan to just work harder and make the team next year.
Yeah,
made me think of that. Kirk Bamford, another coach, and this will be the last one. Thank you, Nick. Will be did your college coach ever give you his reason why he didn't pick you for those first 2 years? Did he ever talk to you about that?
This is a great way to end it. Thanks for the question, Kirk. So I think sometimes people are just weird and have weird reasons for doing things. Guys, I mean it dearly when I tell you this guy showed up to 4 of my tournaments in 4 different states and essentially stalked me. Coaches don't do that. They definitely don't do it now because they just, more than anything, will watch tape. But when I was getting recruited, there was tape around, but coaches showed up to big tournaments, right? And I didn't have a big tape reel, but this coach had heard about me, and he was the only Division III for some reason that I talked to. And this guy was begging me to come play there. 4 tournaments, stayed at 4 full games to watch me. So I couldn't believe, like, after that, I don't know if I got him upset. I don't know if I pissed him off that I chose last minute. I don't know if I tricked him up. I don't know if he found someone else or it wasn't personal. What I do know is that to this day, he's still a weird dude. He still doesn't understand how to converse with people. He's still very awkward, and I'm still unbelievably grateful for that man. I couldn't be more grateful. Thank you so much for what you put me through. I literally said in an email, thank you so much for what you put me through. Because, guys, I'm a beast mentally right now. And I don't know if I would have been there had it not been from him. Like, I went my whole life being one of the best players on the field. I went my whole life scoring goals, having swag on the field. I went my whole life winning all the fitness challenges. I went my whole life being one of the best, or being up in the top of the list, towards the top of the list. And this guy gave me an opportunity to have humility, to humble myself. I don't know what his reason was, or if it was a divine reason that was a gift from something up above. I don't know, because I don't know how I would be if I hadn't gone through that. I had made some of the best friends of my life because I wasn't playing soccer full time in my freshman and sophomore years. Friends, I did theater. I've done musical theater my whole life. I was able to focus on theater for a year, like fully focus on it. That was awesome. I was training, but I was able to do something different. So I don't know. I know the question is kind of out of interest to like learn about it. Coaches are weird, guys. A lot of coaches are weird. And just like I said, I know I'm picking on the coaches, but straight up, I was a high school coach too. I coached Croton. And like, I remember realizing one day, I said this before, the way I was showing up mentally shifted my team's outcome. That taught me a lot about how I show up for speaking engagements. If I talk to you guys like this, and we just did the whole thing, and I sat down in a chair, and I said, thanks for having me, and great to meet you, how many of you would have fallen asleep by now? But every time I speak, I'm standing, I'm on my feet, I'm excited, I move, I have energy. Why? Because I need you to show up that way. Because I need you to wake up. Because I need your energy. How can I expect you to do something if I don't show up? Right? So as a coach, we go through things in our head. We have babies at home that we got to deal with. We have our own kids that are driving us crazy. We have to pay bills. We have work sometimes that we got to attend to. We broke up with our girlfriends. We did this. And then we have to show up and be a coach for you. Sometimes coaches are just going through stuff. So maybe he was going through a week. Seems like he's been going through 7 years. But he's an awkward dude. I'm me. You hear my energy? You hear my loud? Maybe he didn't like that. And the best part is, Kirk, I don't care. That's what he taught me, is that I could sit around and care and be so upset that this guy doesn't like me. I don't care if he likes me. I don't care. I care that I like me. I care that I know I'm doing the right thing. I care that I know I'm working hard. He doesn't know how many times the security had to come around to the back of my house where my house was at school because I was kicking the ball against the dorm building and I was pissing people off and waking them up at 3 a.m. Like, he doesn't know that, nor do I care for him to know that. I care for me to know that. So no coach will ever have the ability to ruin you. How you perceive your coach's response to you is what will ruin you. Okay? Failure only applies to those who accept defeat. It's the truth, Kirk. It really is. It's a matter of saying, I'm laying down because this guy did this and it's his fault. No, you take responsibility for your outcomes. Everything in life. That's what I'll leave you with tonight. Pretty please understand that anything you want to do, create, and change, you must be accountable for. Because nobody, you could blame the whole world for it. The blame only lasts until the pity party is over. And then you still have to figure out how to do it. You still have to figure out how to do it. So I want to thank you guys. I'm just going to put my information up here so that they have that.
Absolutely.
And you guys have my email there. So I do coaching for athletes. I do coaching for parents. If you want to do like professional work coaching, I know it's different than what you're seeing here. This is what I run my life around. So I'm grateful to have spoken with you all today. If you have any questions for me, guys, kids, you guys can DM me on Instagram. It's an easy way to reach out to me. So I just want to thank you all so much for your time, attention, and good luck going forward with the club. Coaches, good luck. Know that you're representing these kids and how they show up. And parents, thank you for being here. Show that you're taking time to be there for your kids. Celebrate yourself for that. And Bo and squad, thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it.
It's awesome. Really appreciate your time. Thank you for taking the time and putting your energy into this. It's always great to see you. Like I said, this is recorded. I will make sure you get the recording, Nick, as well. And again, we will absolutely stay in touch because who knows what the future will bring. But all the best to you. Thank you from behalf of the club and from Ray and from Eastern. Just thanks a lot. This is great and magical, and we're just going to keep striving forward. So thank you, Nick. I really appreciate it. Really do.
Appreciate you all. Thanks, guys.